Greetings and salutation, YouTube. Thomas L here. Since today is the birthday of late actor Heath Ledger, I decided to do my top 10 favorite Heath Ledger movies. Man, the guy passed away in 2008, and I gotta say, I still miss the guy. He was a really good actor, and of course, he ended up winning an Oscar. And man, he was gone way too soon. I believe he passed away at age 29, if I'm not mistaken. And today would have been like his 40th birthday. Man, gone way, way too soon. But before he passed, he's been in some really good, decent films when he was around. So that being said, here's my top 10 favorite. Now, coming in at number 10 is The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. This was a really good film. I mean, the movie actually, believe it or not, turns 10 this year, so there's that. And it was directed by Terry Gilliam and featured people like Christopher Plummer, Andrew Garfield, a couple years before he ended up being Spider-Man. And the reason why I have it a little higher is because Heath Ledger was barely in the movie, because when this movie was being shot, was in production, he pretty much passed away, about, I think, two-thirds or whatever of the production of the film. And so, he didn't finish all of his parts. So the actors who ended up, replacing, filling in for Ledger's character's parts included Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and I believe Colin Farrell also plays. So they played different characters and all. And they were really good sports about it too, because they actually donated their how much money they made for their parts in the movie. They actually donated that to Heath Ledger's daughter. So that was really good sports right there. But anyway, back to the film. It was a really nice little fantasy movie. I mean, Terry Gilliam did a pretty good job at directing. This movie is pretty underrated too. I mean, lots of people didn't really talk about it as much as they should, because it was actually really good. I mean, you also had the late, great Vern Troyer in this. He was really good in his parts. Christopher Plummer was pretty decent. This actress named Lily Cole, she was good in this. Really nice little film. I mean, it wasn't great, nothing like that, but it was pretty decent. Coming in at number 9 is Ned Kelly. Now, this is about the Australian bush ranger Ned Kelly, played by Heath Ledger, who flees to the outback with his brother named Dan, played by Lawrence Kinlan, and the two other cohorts. And this played by Orlando Bloom and Philip Brantini. And so, the gang's reputation grows, and they take on Superintendent Francis Hare, played by Jeffrey Rush. And so, while Kelly, encounters a little romance in the form of a woman named Julia Cook, played by Naomi Watts, it all, comes to a violent head in the town of Glen Rowan. This movie was pretty decent. I mean, Heath Ledger as Ned Kelly, I thought was really good casting. Orlando Bloom was great. Jeffrey Rush was good. It was a little slow at times, I admit, but it was still pretty decent. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I remember really enjoying it when I first saw it. And Heath Ledger had a really good performance as the role Ned Kelly. And Naomi Watts, I mean, come on, Naomi Watts is always good. Coming in at number 8 is A Knight's Tale. Now, in this, you got Heath Ledger playing a peasant-born character named William Thatcher, who, ends up beginning a quest to change his stars and win the heart of a fair maiden, played by Shannon Salzman, and rock his medieval world. And so, with the help of his friends, played by Mark Addy, Paul Bettany, and Alan Tudyk, he ends up facing the ultimate test of medieval gallantry, tournament jousting, and tries to discover if he has the metal to become a urban legend. This movie was a pretty funny medieval film. I mean, it was nice to see a comedic medieval movie because there's like so many serious ones over the years. So it's nice to see like a comedic version of the medieval story. Anyway, Heath Ledger was pretty funny in this. I mean, he shows that he could do comedy really well. I mean, yeah, again, his first major feature in the U.S. was a comedy, so there's that. But anyway, A Knight's Tale was pretty decent. You know, I really liked Paul Bettany. He was good. Mark Addy, aka Fresh Flintstones from V Rock Vegas, he was pretty good in this. Shannon Solomon, she was good. I really enjoyed the movie. It's not like great, nothing like that, but it was pretty decent. All right, coming in at number 7 is Lords of Dogtown. Now here, Heath Ledger plays a character named Skip Ungblom, who's like one of the co-founders of the Jeff Ho Surfboards and Cypher Productions surf shop in Santa Monica, California. Now, Lords of Dogtown is from director Catherine Hardwicke, who directed Twilight, 13. She just had that movie Miss Bala that just got released. This was really good. I mean, it's a nice, like, extreme sport film. You also got Emil Hirsch. He was good in this. You even had Victor Razak. John Robinson was in this. You even had a cameo by Johnny Knoxville. Really good little film. I mean, the movie was really fun. It had lots of heart to it. The chemistry between the leads was all pretty good. Heath Ledger was great as the co-founder in this. Yeah, really nice little film. And also, you don't really get much skating movies nowadays. Like, there's so many other sport movies. Like, there's so many baseball movies, basketball movies. We barely see many extreme sport films. So, there's that. All right, coming in at number 6 will be Monsters Ball. Now, the film is set in the southern United States, and Monsters Ball is a tale of a racist white man named Hank who falls in love with a black woman named Letitia. And Hank is a prison guard working on death row who executed Letitia's husband. And so, like, Hank and Letitia's racial affairs leads to confusion and new ideas of the of two like unlikely lovers. Now, of course, Hank is played by Billy Bob Thornton, while Letitia is played by Halle Berry, and Heath Ledger in this plays like one of the guards here. Oh, not to mention, P Diddy plays Letitia's ex-husband. So, for all you P Diddy fans, P Diddy's in this movie. Now, the movie was directed by Mark Foster, who also recently just directed Christopher Robin. So yeah, the guy who was responsible for some steaming lovemaking in this movie was responsible for Christopher Robin. So there's that. Anyway, this like Heath Ledger's character was pretty decent. I mean, he played that role pretty well, but it's mainly more of a Billy Bob Thornton and Halle Berry story, to be honest with you. But Heath Ledger as the guard here was pretty decent casting. I mean, he had some pretty good scenes in it. Like his interaction with Billy Bob Thornton was pretty good. Pretty nice little film. And not to mention, Halle Berry won her first Oscar for this too. So there's that. All right. Coming in at number 5 is Casanova. Now, in this, Heath Ledger plays the character of Casanova, who is in love with Francesa, played by Sienna Miller, and she thinks that he is a friend of himself, even though he is like engaged to Victoria, who is the love of Giovanni, and so like Francisca's brother is in this, Francisca is betrothed to Paparizzo, who thinks Casanova is like a feminist writer named Gaudy, who is like really Francisca's Nomi de Plume. This is like a nice little love film. I mean, Heath Ledger and Sienna Miller, I believe they were dating before as well. I think around the time this movie got made, they were like I think they were like an item or something. Anyway, I believe they were married too. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, Heath Ledger and Sienna Miller, they were both really great here. Like they had really good romance chemistry with one another. Like Heath Ledger gave him, like he was really charming in this, and Sienna Miller, like I said, she was pretty good. Nice little romance, period piece film we're checking out. Coming in at number 4 is The Patriot. Now, I recently talked about this movie when I was doing my top 10 Mel Gibson movie, and of course, The Patriot was in that list. I mean, in The Patriot, like, you got Mel Gibson, whose eldest, like, Heath Ledger actually plays Mel Gibson's eldest son named Gabriel, who's like who's like the husband of Anne Patricia Howard Martin. And so, like, he decides to join up with the Continental Army against his father's wishes. And so, like, he is killed during an attack on the Green Dragon's camp while seeking revenge against Colonel Tamiston for his wife's murder. Heath Ledger, him as Mel Gibson's son, was pretty cool casting. I mean, there's, like, father and son bond in this was pretty decent. Mel Gibson was great. And this movie was also brutal. Like, it was really violent and bloody. And it was also directed by Roland Emmerich, who, of course, gave us Independence Day. He did a great job with this. The movie had some pretty cool dialogue in it. Good performance by Gibson and Ledger. Really good medieval film. All right, coming in at number 3 is pretty much Heath Ledger, like the movie that put Heath Ledger on the map. And my number 3 pick is 10 Things I Hate About You. Now, this is actually inspired by a Shakespeare play, which I believe was Romeo and Juliet, if I'm not mistaken. And in it, you got Julia Stiles, who plays a beautiful, smart, and quiet, observative player named Kat Stratford, who most of her fellow teens, meaning, and she's like not like her fellow teens, where meaning that she doesn't attract many boys. But unfortunately, her younger sister named Bianca, played by Larissa Olenek, you know, her house rules say that she can't date until Kat has a boyfriend. So in it, Julia Stiles ends up being a new, like a handsome new arrival named Patrick of Verona, played by Heath Ledger. And there's like a really nice scene where Heath Ledger is singing a Jersey Boy song, which is a really iconic scene right there. And also, you had Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this, so there's that. This is a really cute little romance film. I mean, Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger both had good chemistry with one another. This is pretty much one of the best romantic comedies of the early 2000s. It's really good. It's cute. It's charming. Like, good performances by both Ledger and Stiles. They were both great here. Really good little film. And the movie turns 20 next year. Oh boy, I feel old. Anyway. Alright, coming in at number 2 will be Brokeback Mountain. Anyway, Brokeback Mountain is a great film. I mean, it was directed by Ang Lee, and it's another sorry about that, guys. Anyway, the film was a romance film that starred Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal. You also had Michelle Williams, who I thought was terrific in this. Also, Anne Hathaway was in this. This was a really nice film. I mean, lots of people say that it should have won over Crash. To be honest, I still prefer Crash over Brokeback Mountain. But Brokeback Mountain is still a great movie. Ang Lee directed this movie really perfectly. It had a really great script attached. Good performances by Heath Ledger, by Jake Gyllenhaal. I believe Heath Ledger scored an Oscar nomination for this, if I'm not mistaken. Same with Jake Gyllenhaal. Anyway, yeah, Brokeback Mountain is a really great little film. I mean, if it had won the Oscar, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. But I still still prefer Crash over this, but Brokeback Mountain is still a great movie, and yeah, I mean Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal both as cowboys who fall in love with each other. That's pretty interesting, an interesting storyline right there. To be honest, if Jake Gyllenhaal ends up being cast as Batman, it's gonna be funny because in this he ends up doing it with Heath Ledger who played the Joker and Anne Hathaway who played Catwoman. So if Jake Gyllenhaal gets cast as Batman, Brokeback Mountain is gonna have a Batman connection. So there's a little fun fact right there. If Jake Gyllenhaal gets cast as Batman, but God knows if that's gonna happen. Anyway, now back to the movie itself. As I say, if you guys never seen Brokeback Mountain, I highly recommend it. It's a really good film. All right, my number one favorite Heath Ledger movie of all time is, no shocker, is pretty much the best role of his career. That is The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger was menacing as the role of The Dark Knight. Now, back when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker, believe it or not, like, you know how Ben Affleck got hated on when he was cast as Batman? Oh boy, Heath Ledger did not have it good when he was cast as the Joker. Lots of people hated the idea. They were all like, "Oh wait, the guy from Brokeback Mountain is gonna be a new Joker." Ooh. You know how people react to stuff before seeing a performance and all. Anyway, but of course, Twitter and Facebook wasn't popular back then, so people couldn't go on social media to share their reaction and whatever. But anyway, as for The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger, his performance was terrific. I mean, he also won his Oscar for this. But there's lots of people that are actually saying that Heath Ledger only won his award because he passed and all. No way. He won his award because he was great as a role. That's why he won his Oscar. If he was still around, I guarantee you he will still have won his Oscar. Anyway, and I mean the makeup that they used for Heath Ledger was terrific. Heath Ledger played that role perfectly. He was so menacing. He was really terrifying. I think he's the best Joker we've ever had. I mean, of course that could easily change once Joaquin Phoenix's Joker comes out and that blows us out of the park. Maybe there could be a good chance that Joaquin Phoenix Joker might be the best Joker, but who knows? That will have to be what I say. But all I know is out of all the actors who play the Joker between Cesar Romero, Cameron Monaghan, Jack Nicholson, Jared Leto, which I really like, by the way. I know lots of people trash on Jared Leto's Joker. I think Jared Leto's Joker was pretty good to me, but anyway. But out of all those Jokers, I think Heath Ledger is the best Joker we've ever had on screen. And I'm talking about live action form. Not really counting Mark Hamill because that's a voice work, but I mean live action form. Now, I know lots of people will probably disagree with me saying that Mark Hamill's the best Joker, which I could see why he's the best Joker. I mean, he played that role he voiced that role really perfectly, but I'm only talking about live action Jokers, and Heath Ledger is the best on-screen live action Joker we've ever seen portrayed. And The Dark Knight the movie itself was just great too. And I mean, too bad the movie didn't get an Oscar nomination for Best Picture because I think it should got one, but wait a minute there. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. 8, Ned Kelly. 9, Ned Kelly. 8, The Knight's Tale. 7, Lords of Dogtown. 6, Monsters Ball. 5, Casanova. 4, The Patron. 3, 10 Things I Hate About You. 2, Brokeback Mountain. 1, The Dark Knight. Now, there's loads of other ones I probably could have added. Let me pull up this credit list. He was also in The Brothers Grimm, which I didn't really care much for. That one had Matt Damon in it and wasn't that good a film. He was in The Four Feathers with Kate Hudson, which was okay. He was in I'm Not There, but that was more of Kate Blanchett's movie than his. So he was in the movie Candy with Abby Cornish. That was a pretty decent one. He was also in a movie called Two Hands. He was in a movie called The Order, which also had Mark Addy in it. That movie was not that good. He was in some movie called Pause. He hasn't really been in a whole lot, to be honest with you, but he's been in some pretty decent stuff. Anyway, let me leave to you guys. What are some of your favorite Heath Ledger movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Tom Sells signing off.